Hey guys, and earlier they released the second full trailer for the Super Mario Galaxy movie, and I wanted to give my thoughts on it because there's quite a lot to talk about. And overall, this looks much more exciting than the first trailer. I feel like it does a much better job at getting people hyped for the movie because the first trailer spent way too long on that one scene with Bowser. I guess it kind of made sense as it tied into the plot with Bowser Jr.'s motivation of trying to get Bowser back. So it did make sense there, but it dragged on for too long, and they didn't really show that much of the movie, which I guess is fair, because I don't like when movies are spoiled in the trailers. But at the same time, though, I wish they had a little more to offer there to make people a little more excited for the movie, and I feel like that's what this trailer does. It kind of shows a little more without spoiling anything for the movie. And what they did show here is very exciting. There were a lot of really cool characters shown here, some that I was not expecting to see at all, and are definitely considered deep cut, so I definitely believe them when they say deep cut. Now, there were a lot of really cool locations as well, and interactions between the characters. One thing that was a bit odd about this trailer, though, is that it didn't really have many galaxy elements to it. I don't really think that's a huge concern though, because this trailer was mostly focused on introducing Yoshi specifically, and we've already seen that the marketing of this movie and promotional materials have a very heavy emphasis on the space theming, and have like the Comet Observatory and various galaxies from the Galaxy games. So I don't think the lack of galaxy influence will be that much of an issue here. I just think for this trailer specifically, they were showing off scenes that involved Yoshi, or at least like just various other scenes that kind of like linked to that. So I don't really think that's a huge concern, honestly. I think they'll delve into the galaxy stuff in future trailers. And I think they're also keeping a lot of details intentionally vague, so the full movie will be more exciting when it actually releases. And with this trailer, I really like how Yoshi is being portrayed here. He doesn't have an actual speaking role like the games, he just mostly makes sounds and says Yoshi, and I really like that. I didn't really want Yoshi to have an actual speaking role here. I mean, I guess it could have worked if they pulled it off correctly, but I vastly prefer this approach. Weirdly enough, they didn't reveal his voice actor, which is odd, but unfortunately expected since this probably wasn't a big-named actor. But my guess for his voice actor would probably be Frank Welker, because in the inverted pyramid scene where Mario is meeting Yoshi, Yoshi's sounded kind of similar to some of Frank Welker's characters like Curious George or Nibbler from Futurama. It kind of sounded a bit similar to that, so that's my guess for Yoshi's voice actor. Though we have heard in some scenes that Totaka's sound clips will be used in this movie. I think in the first Mario movie, there were some sound clips from the games that were used in various scenes, so I think they're going to do some similar things like that in this movie with Yoshi, but we'll have to see. And I really like how Yoshi is bonding with the bros and everything, and it almost seems like Toad's like a little jealous, but it seems like they eventually get along. There's also like one scene where Mario and Luigi apparently turn into babies, and then Yoshi has a super scope looking thing, so it's almost like a reference to Yoshi's Safari, which is really cool. And they're basically facing off against the T-Rex from Mario Odyssey. This might also be the movie universe's way of portraying Yoshi's Island, because Yoshi's Island as it exists in the Mario lore wouldn't exactly work in the movie universe, because Mario and Luigi's first time in the Mushroom Kingdom was in the first movie. So it's a bit weird, but it's also kind of interesting as well. Maybe Bowser Jr. or Kamek transformed them into babies and they got stranded on some planet. It would make sense if this was on like some kind of planet or galaxy, so it could tie in with that general space exploration theming. And another thing is that Yoshi probably joins Mario and Luigi very early on in the movie, as we already saw Yoshi alongside them at the Star Festival. I assume that carnival there is the Star Festival, so Yoshi is probably towards the beginning, like that whole scene with Tostarena is probably around the beginning of the movie, as well as that one scene with Tiny Bowser. Speaking of Tostarena, I wanted to talk about all the interesting characters, references, and locations that were shown off in this trailer, because there's a lot of really cool ones here. Like in that opening scene in Tostarena, we saw the Tostarenans, which haven't appeared since Odyssey, so it's really cool to see them in this movie. And we also saw a Moai standing with them when Mario and Luigi were entering the inverted pyramid, so it's really cool that we'll get to see some Odyssey NPCs, so I'm definitely looking forward to that. Later into the trailer, we saw the message block from Super Mario World, a big Cheep Sheep which kind of reminds me of the one from Super Mario Bros. 3, Big Bertha, and Luigi using the frog suit, which is really cool. And then, the coolest scene in this trailer showed off that one casino from the first trailer, but it introduced Birdo. Peach was basically fighting against her, and Birdo was shooting out eggs, kind of like how she does in Super Mario Bros. 2, which was really cool. And in this scene, you could see a bunch of different enemies in the background, like playing on the slot machines, like there's some spikes and coin coffers. I think the coin coffers are like working at the casino, which kind of makes sense. As well as some Octoombas and Octoguys, which are weirdly enough the only Galaxy enemies we saw in this trailer, but it's still nice that they're gonna be in this movie. But Birdo won't be the only Super Mario Bros. 2 character returning here, as Claw Grip and MOUSER will be in this movie, which is insane. I've been wanting MOUSER to return in a Mario game for years, so I think it's really cool that he's in this movie alongside Claw Grip. And with MOUSER, I think it would be cool if they brought back his old voice actor from the Super Mario Bros. Super Show, or at the very least, give him a Swiss accent kind of similar to Super Show to kind of be a cool callback. And it would also be really cool to see the other 8-bits from Super Mario Bros. 2 appear in this movie, like Fry Guy and Tri-Clyde. I think that would be really cool to see like all of them appear alongside each other and maybe have Wart own the casino. Since that casino seems to be run by the 8-bits, like in the first trailer we saw like a horde of ninjas which were probably sent out by one of them, so it would be really cool to see Wart in this movie as well. But hey, I'll take MOUSER. I think it's just amazing to finally see him in a form of media after so many years. I just hope that Nintendo starts adding him in more games again. Like, add him to Mario Kart World alongside King K. Rool. MOUSER needs to be in more games. Wart does as well. But anyways, I think that's most of what I have to say about this trailer. It looks pretty exciting overall, and I can't wait to see more. But anyways, let me know what you think down in the comments, and thank you guys for watching this video. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more, and make sure to check out my Discord server and Blue Sky if you want to. Stay perky!